The guesthouse lobby was wrapped in silence. The strings of tension binding Kraus, Natsuki, and Eva had already loosened, and they were completely worn out, with their minds beginning to waver. Every once in a while, they would stand up and walk around pointlessly, as though fighting their drowsiness.
大丈夫ですか、エヴァさん。やはり無理をせず、休んでいてください。
大丈夫だって言ってるわ。もう大人は私たち3人しかいないのよ。休んでる暇なんかないわ。石にかじりついてでも、ここを死守するわよ。
She spoke bravely, but she couldn't hide her rough breathing. It seemed that with the fever, which had been calmed with medicine for a short time, had returned. It was very obvious that Ava's health was not good.
無理はするな。せめて目を閉じていたまえ。もし起こさねばならぬ時は、必ず起こしてやるから。
だから平気だって言ってるわ。放っておいて。
It seemed she was already unwilling to budge. Kraus and Natsuki realized that even if they talked to her anymore, when she was like this, it wouldn't reach her ears. So without saying anything more, they decided to let her be. To Ava right now, even having an argument like that would be burdensome. It would probably be better for her body if she just sat there with her mouth closed. In truth, Ava was just a step away from being beaten down by drowsiness. Perhaps she shot back at them with a temper because she was trying to rouse herself and throw off her sleepiness. The clock would be pointing at 6 o'clock in the afternoon very soon. She had several snacks to distract herself from her drowsiness, so she didn't feel hungry. But now her lack of sleep made it feel like it was 6 in the morning and not the afternoon. So supposing that the boat came at precisely 9 in the morning tomorrow, they still had more than 12 full hours to go. It was an overwhelmingly long stretch of time. Long, painful, hot. Even the sound of the clock torments my body now. In times like this, when that person puts his hand on my forehead, the fever fades at once. But that person no longer exists. As Ava's mind grew foggy, she was once again gripped by a deep sadness. She had already cried herself dry. So, even so, the sadness of losing her beloved husband had not been exhausted.
私は間違っていたんだわ。
どうして？
The new witch and Ava were fundamentally the same being. If Ava talked to her, she would always respond.
私は後宮家の当主の座さえ得られれば、それで満足のはずだった。それがあの黄金の山を見た途端に欲が増えたの。あの黄金の山を独り占めしたい気持ちに駆られた。
それは恥じることでも何でもないわ。だって後宮家の当主として当然の権利じゃない。他の誰にも黄金のひとかけらだって譲るものかってのよ。
私がその誘惑にとらわれたから、あなたが生まれてしまったんだわ。あなたは私の少女時代の心であると同時に、自分勝手でしかない私のよこしまな心でもあった。そのあなたがあの黄金の山によって芽生えた私の愚かな欲望のせいで、私の胸という卵の殻を破り、この世に生まれ出てしまった。あなたを産んだのは私の責任。
なら私が殺したローザとマリアも、そしてルドルフとキリエと秀吉もあなたの責任ってことになるわ。
どうしてうちの人まで殺したのよ。どうして。
秀吉を殺す気はなかったわ。だってうるさくてしつこかったんだもの。その意味では私たちの、いえ、あなたの責任ね。あんなのを旦那に選んだあなたの責任だわ。
あなたみたいな子供にあの人の良さはわからないわよ。あなた。
何よ、私たちは魔法で夢を叶えたのよ。気分の謎を解いたわ。そして黄金を見つけ、当主の指輪を手にしたわ。 全ての夢を叶えきったわ。それがなんで不満なの？
それだけが全ての夢なんかじゃないわ。あの人と素敵な人生を歩んで、ジョージに素晴らしい人生を託す。妻として、母として。それなのに、
それはあなたが大人になってから勝手に増やした夢だわ。私たちの夢じゃない。
だからあなたは子供なのよ。自分さえ良ければいいの？そういう、全て私が悪いのよ。あの時ローザの言うことにどうして私は反抗したの？どうして兄弟みんなに黄金を見つけたと発表できなかったの？全て私が醜いから。黄金を独り占めしたくて芽生えさせた横島な心があなたを孵化させてしまった。
ひどい嫌われようだわ。私たちは二人で後ろ宮エヴァなのに。
いいえ、もう違うわ。そしてそれはあなたが言ったのよ。私は後ろ宮エヴァ、そしてあなたは黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェよ。だからもう消えて。魔女なんておとぎ話の中にしか存在できない妄想よ、幻想よ。あなたなんか消えてしまえ。二度と私の前に現れないで。
ああ、そう。わかったわ。あなたの前から消えてあげるわ。そして私はもう後ろ宮エヴァじゃない。これからは黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェよ。もう好き勝手に遊んでやるんだから。あんたなんて知らないわ。へそでも噛んで勝手に死んじゃえば。
After having a very childlike tantrum, the witch who had once been another Ava vanished. Only Ava was left behind in the darkness, and she questioned herself.
私なの？私が彼らを殺したの？あの人を殺してしまったの？私が殺してしまったの？
She could no longer answer that question herself. Seeing that half asleep, she had gotten some saliva caught in her windpipe just as she was dozing off. Ava suddenly started coughing.
大丈夫かエヴァ。夏希、水を頼む。
はい。
大丈夫だってば。ちょっとむせちゃっただけなんだから。
Ava pushed away Natsui's hand as she tried to rub her back, and unsteadily rose to her feet.
顔を洗ってくるわ。ごめんなさいね、寝ちゃってたわ。戻ってきたらまたコーヒーを入れるわね。特に濃い、明日の朝まで眠気が来なくなるようなやつを。
頼む。ゴーダの入れるコーヒーよりお前が入れるコーヒーの方が私の好みに合うからな。
お世辞でも嬉しいわ。すぐ戻るわ。
Ava exited the lobby, heading for the bathroom. Crossing Natsui watched over her frail back.
あなたもあれだけ犬猿の中だったエヴァさんに気を使うこともあるのですね。
本来兄とはこういうものではないのかね。
ええ、それで正しいと思います。
エヴァに限らん。ルドルフにもローザにも、私がした兄らしいことといえばそれを王兵に語り彼らをいじめただけだ。父のようになりたくて私なりに必死だった。だがいつもそれは及ばず、そのはけ口を彼らに向けてしまった。しかしそれは言い訳にならん。エヴァにもまだ傷が癒えぬほどに 深い心の傷を負わせてしまっただろう。悔いているが、今さらそれを詫びたところでその傷が癒えるわけもない。
あなたがその気持ちを今だけでなく持ち続けることで、その気持ちはきっと他の兄弟たちにも伝わりますよ。
今となっては他の兄弟もエヴァを残すのみだがね。
もしあなたとあなたのご兄弟が生まれた家が後宮家でさえなかったなら、もっともっと普通な楽しい兄弟の関係であったでしょうに。
それを言ってはならん。エヴァは生涯私を憎み続けるだろう。そしてその資格がある。私はそれを甘んじて受け止めるつもりだ。
あなた、
エヴァ、すまん。もちろん許さなくていい。
もちろん許さないわ。何を今さら。悪いと思ったなら今すぐへそでも噛んで死んじゃえば。やっちゃえ、シエスタ姉妹。45射撃許可治療。射撃曲線再確認。飛行誤差修正。410データリンク。410データ受領。射撃許可確認。射撃。
Together, the sisters released the magical bowstring they had readied. A beautiful tail trailed behind the golden arrow, and it drew a lovely curve as it flew. It was just like a gold snake. It skillfully avoided a grove of trees and flew in the front door of the guest house. It flew into the keyhole of the door and snuck into the guest house without any problem at all. The gold snake raced down the hall smoothly, yet as fast as an arrow. Right before it was the door to the lobby. When it flew into the keyhole, Kraus and Natsuki were all ready. For an instant, Kraus thought he saw a gold-colored sparkle in the keyhole on the door. However, at the same time, as he strained his eyes to see what it was, the sparkle bent like a whip and attacked, wrapping itself around Kraus's neck. Just looking at it, the gold snake seemed very supple. However, it was as though a wire was tightened around Kraus's neck. And while that snake choked Kraus, it extended even more and also tightened around Natsuki's neck. Without even a chance to scream, their eyes bulged as they went into convulsions and then collapsed.
45命中および死亡確認。牽引曲線形成。補正点修正。410データリンク。410データ受領。死体牽引開始。2匹も釣れた2匹。
The gold snake began to drag Kraus and Natsuki's bodies back. They slipped through the door in the corridor, dragging their bodies gradually increasing in speed, and rapidly pulled them outside the guest house. So the lobby was silent, as though nothing had happened. As though Kraus and Natsuki had not been there since the beginning. Only the sound of the wind and the rain remained, as if they were playing dumb and pretending to be the only ones there.
ごめんなさい。もう大丈夫よ。今コーヒーを入れるわね。
Ava returned from the bathroom, but no one was in the lobby. Even though they had been supposedly banned that sofa until just a moment she had choked and gone to the bathroom, they were gone as if it had been an illusion from the beginning.
不用心ね。二人揃ってどこに行っちゃったの？
Ava put her hand on the sofa as though acting out a scene from a detective novel. She felt a warmth that meant that they had been sitting there until just a short while ago. Maybe they went to do the rounds or something. For the time being, Ava sat down and waited for their return. Beato and George could be seen in the parlor of the mansion. George was kneeling near Shannon's body as though praying. His face was serious and there was even sweat on his forehead. However, Beato was also the same. Now that she had handed her name over, most of her previous power had been lost. Of course, she still had more than enough power to be called a witch, but compared to the past, it was a very faint thing.
いいぞ。声をかけるな。手で触れるな。心の声で呼べよ。心の手で求めよ。そなたの強き思いだけが、シャノンの失われた魂に、わらわの魔法を届かせる。
George kept praying earnestly and silently. He kept frantically yelling inside his heart, trying to call back the soul of the person he loved. He strongly envisioned his soul leaving his body and searching for her as she wandered through the land of the dead. Beato turned that strong force into magical power that supplemented her own magic. This was a magic that, in the past, could have performed easily without anyone's help. But now she didn't rely on someone's assistance. She wouldn't be able to finish the chant, much less succeed.
数百年近くも忘れてお魔法と反言とはこんなにも辛い魔法であったか。
Beato was wearing an even more strange expression than George. It had slipped her mind, but originally the magic to revive a life was the ultimate hidden art. The abnormal thing was her previous magical power, which could be used over and over with the snap of the fingers. So the heavy burden on her body and mind was, fundamentally speaking, extremely natural.
しかしこやつめの力、魔法を知らぬというのにかなりのもの。なるほど。さすがは金蔵の孫といったところか。
Strong energy pouring from George was large enough to act as magical power. At first, Beato thought it might be the blood of Kinzo, the sorcerer. However, that probably wasn't it. She had a feeling that Battler had already told her what it was. It had been born from the power of George's sadness at the death of the person he loved, from the way that he had tried his hardest throughout his life, from the warm time he spent together with Shannon, to the size of the dream that they swore to protect in the future. Is it really possible for humans to take life so seriously, even though they only have a single one? It was only natural. To her, a life didn't mean anything more than the difference between the top and the bottom of the Nothello piece. The black represented death, when she thought all you had to do was flip it over again to make it white. However, it was just like that broken vase. To humans in a world without magic, where they cannot return things to their original form, it was a very, very natural for them to bet their life and soul.
生死すら自在にする無限の魔女。死の山さえ越えられぬ有限の人間に劣ることもあるというのか。
This time, the witch acknowledged it. He was able to hold magical power that could never reside in witches who didn't understand the value of a life. Why does this thing called the Endless Magic exist? Even though I called myself the Endless Witch. Did I forget what the Endless Magic meant for 1,000 years? She looked at George's expression again. His surging earnestness was like a lightning bolt. Right now, even if George's body had been burned or smashed by a waterfall, he'd probably continue to pray for his beloved without minding it, without noticing it. For the first time, she showed respect for that power. So in that instant, all magical resistance was lost, and the enormous power of George's feelings turned into magical energy in its complete form. The vase was very beautiful, rich with history and value. Even as young as I was, it was still forced me to take a deep breath when I witnessed its beauty. But that just made me want to touch it. But the vase easily fell and smashed into pieces, like a bubble that had been popped. It felt as though the time it had possessed a form was just an illusion. Lives are just that fragile, just that easily lost. I realized that my foolish curiosity had led to something that couldn't be undone. No matter how much I regret it, no matter how much I apologized, Smashed Vase wouldn't return back to its original form. A lost life will not return to normal no matter what happens. I was frightened that, even though my actions had been thoughtless and careless, they had stolen away a life that could never be revived again. Then I pitied that loss and cried. I was frightened of myself, the one responsible for its loss, and cried even more. I'm sure Grandfather will also cry at the loss of his precious face. I'm sure that all the people who love Grandfather and see him like that will cry. In the loss of a single life, the whole world can be filled with so much sadness. I cried even more at how terrible that was. Beatrice appeared and spoke.
ならばお嬢様、この壺を魔法で蘇らせましょう。それで皆が幸せになれるなら、壺も魔法も精霊たちも喜んでそのために力を貸し、元の姿を取り戻すでしょう。さあさあ、お嬢様、目を閉じて私と一緒にお歌を歌いましょう。
さあさあ、目を閉じてごらんなさい。そして思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。それはきっととてもとても美しい姿。どうか私にあの姿をもう一度見せておくれ。
Those words of power knocked out forcefully on the door of the land of the dead. The magic of her old self had performed the same forceful knock. However, doing it that way was horribly violent, and earned the displeasure of the peacefully sleeping dead. But this time was different. It was very forceful, and yet gentle and loving. The dead near the door opened their eyes, and called out to the others that there was a voice calling for someone to come back. The sadness of that voice calling from the outside touched the hearts of the dead, and, trying to respond as quickly as possible, they searched for Shannon's lost soul. And then, they found it. They found the casket in which Shannon was peacefully sleeping. It truly was Shannon's soul, sleeping in the land of the dead. Inside the casket was covered with rose flowers frozen with frost. She was sleeping in peace. The dead silently lifted the casket up. While with a glance it looked like a funeral march, it had a complete opposite meaning. It was solemn but filled with joy. The long-forgotten dead were made to remember that they were loved after their deaths, and they were all given a warm sense of peace. Then, as though guided by a warm light from the heavens, Shannon's body floated up out of the casket. The dead watched her go. They squinted at that warm light, offering their respect to the unknown member of the living, who had not lost his love for a person even after their death. Shannon's body was enveloped in the light of the heavens and began to disappear. In the jet-black darkness of the land of the dead, the faint flickering of gold butterflies could be seen. It reminded them of the gentle stars in the night sky, which they had long forgotten. George remembered being told that he must not say anything, and he hurriedly covered his mouth. However, it felt like his heart was trying to jump into his throat, because he had seen Shannon's eyelids shake slightly. Then, those eyelids slowly opened. Shannon's eyes were there, but they were still wrapped in the fog of the land of the dead. However, the human world's warmth, no, her lover's warmth, which had called her back her soul, slowly dissolved that fog, and her eyes gradually regained their sparkle. Then, her eyes moved, and recognized George.
George-san.
As her lips shook weakly, Shannon definitely said that. The words were very faint, so much that they normally wouldn't have reached his ears. However, George clearly heard them. He heard that person he cared for, his fiancée, the one he loved most, who should have been dead, call his name once again.
Shannon, 僕がわかるかい?
ジョージさん、これは夢なの？
いや、これは夢じゃないよ。だからほら、つねっても冷めないよ。
As George said that, he softly pinched Shannon's cheek. It was how George had always responded in the past, when Shannon had been surprised by something and had asked if she was dreaming. When Shannon felt the warm touch of George's finger on her cheek, and when George realized that the warmth of the living had already returned to his beloved person's cheek, they both cried. What words should a pair of lovers separated by death celebrate when they are reunited? The words of the human world are not enough. In short, they had no need for words of this world. George simply hugged Shannon, who was sitting up, without talking. Shannon's strength was still feeble, and putting her arms around George's back took all she had, so George hugged her tightly to make up for that. To stop each other from going once more to a place that the other's hands couldn't reach, they hugged each other so tightly, and yet so gently. As Shannon's fingers curled around George's back, on her ring finger, the engagement ring that George had given her definitely shone. That strong glint certainly wasn't just a sparkle of a diamond. There was definitely a magical power that only those two lovers could possibly feel. It was because that strong light existed that they were able to find her casket in the land of the dead. Beato understood. That ring, no. The feelings of the pair embodied in that ring were a miracle made real. In that moment, George definitely used magic. Beato had done nothing more than help him along. That magic had a power that you could only reside in those who knew of the importance of life, who knew what it meant to try with all one's might. It was the power of a miracle, one that the Endless Witch couldn't possibly know of. A miracle that only the power of the finite could give rise to. By now she had no choice but to accept it. She had to accept that true magic, true magical power, exists in the place furthest away from she who called herself a great witch.
ベアトリーチェ様。
彼女が君を生き返らせてくれたんだ。ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。
いや、わらわは何もできなかった。シャノンを蘇らせたのはそなたの魔力、そなたの魔法、奇跡を成し遂げる後宮の地。確かに見届けさせてもらったぞ。
ジョージさんが私を。
わらわなど足元にも及ばぬほどの凄まじき魔力であったぞ。わらわなどはまだまだ見習いの域を出ぬか。今こそ身の程を知ろうぞ。
Beato staggered backwards. Her physical strength was clearly exhausted. She had humbly said that George's power alone had revived Shannon, but Beato also used all of her magical power and physical strength. And she reflected on how difficult it was to revive a single life, something she had been able to play around with however she wanted to in the past. The couple kept on embracing each other tightly. By doing that, those feelings could be communicated with a billion words were shared.
ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。君は僕たちの恩人だ。
ありがとうございます、ベアトリーチェ様。再びジョージ様に会わせてくださったこのご恩を決して忘れません。
よせよせ。愛し合う二人に感謝されては外道の極みと恐れられたわらわにはくすぐったすぎ。わらわのことは気にするな。存分に再会を祝い合え。
Beato, who was leaning back with her back against the wall, slid down the wall and sat. How many centuries had it been since she last grew tired from using this from magic? Probably haven't even been this tired since the first time I succeeded in magic. Didn't teacher praise me that time? Oh, but didn't I kill that same teacher who praised me? Don't be so naive, Beatrice. Isn't that what killing means?
ようやく魔法の使い方を思い出したようですね。
頭ん中酸欠でカラッカラで思い出すもへちまもねえぜ。それよりあんた殺したじゃねえかよ。現れるんじゃねえよ。
あなたが未だに私を生かしていますよ。だからこうして現れられます。もっともあなたの頭を撫でに来たわけでもありませんが。
無様なわらわをわざわざ嘲笑いに来たかよ。それに隠居までした魔女が 今さら頭なんか撫でられちゃ他の魔女の笑い物だぜ。
そうですね。一人前どころか現役を退いたと豪語するあなたなのに、今頃になって魔法の使い方を覚えたなど恥ずかしくて誰にも言えませんね。
だなあ、内緒にしてくれよ、お師匠様。
Beto gazed at the couple hugging each other with a sense of pleasant despondency.
愛か。勝てねえな。
45データ受領、射撃準備完了。弾手選定装填。410射撃2匹。
The gold snake arrow fired by the chasers weaved its way through the bushes in the rose garden, weaved its way through the hedges, climbed the stone steps towards the mansion's entrance, aiming for the keyhole. It weaved through the corridors and flew into the keyhole on the door to the parlor. It happened in an instant. One could hardly blame Beto, who was completely worn out for not noticing it beforehand. Right before Beto's eyes, the gold snake flew through the keyhole, surrounded the two lovers, and pierced the two hearts in a blink of an eye. Furthermore, the gold snake faithfully pierced a hole through Shannon's chest once more. The two hearts were pierced by that gold snake. No, by that gold sewing thread that the new brutal witch's furniture. And it had happened in an instant, mocking the amount of effort it had taken to revive Shannon. Before Beto's shocked eyes, the two lovers fell over and landed on the floor.
ジョージ、サノン。
ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。わずかの間でも合わせてくれてありがとう。
George spent his last breath thanking Beto, and died alongside the one he loved. The gold snake, which still sewed the two in place, spun like a large cyclone, revolving around the inside of the parlor. It was searching for further prey in that room. Then the tip of the snake met Beto's gaze. In that instant, Beto was prepared to die. At that moment, Virgilia stood in front of her, the fingers of both her hands drawing a seal. Instantly, gold-colored gold leaf buried the inside of the parlor. It was like a blizzard of gold.
ベート、今のうちに逃げて。シエスタの黄金宮からは誰も逃れられない。
410標的疾患200魔法機回し。45了解。索敵変更対人画像追尾方式。標的再補足410へデータリンク。410データ受領。すっとろいに先代様。来て来て来て着弾。
Prey targeted by the Chaser Sisters' golden bow did not escape. Could not be blocked. No magical barrier could even dream of blocking it without being multi-layered. The gap opened during the instant of confusion caused by Virgilia's deception magic was Beto's only chance to escape. It was the only chance to make the sisters confuse Virgilia for Beto. As Virgilia's arms opened wide, blocking the way to her beloved disciple, the gold snake pierced straight through her heart. After sneaking in through the keyhole, the snake shot through George Shannon and then Virgilia in an instant, completely failing to notice Beto as she used that instant to escape. As soon as Virgilia saw Beto had gotten away, she died. The strength left in her body, and the gold dust drifting in the wind, her form was erased. Beto completely erased all traces of her magical power, became gold butterflies and passed through the wall, escaping to the wind and rain outside. Beto felt regret from the bottom of her heart. Why? Because she had been attacked by the new witch? Probably not. Of course, she hated losing her teacher. Even more importantly, Beto was enraged at the barbarism that had boorishly stolen away the reunion between two lovers. Beto had poured out almost all of her magical power to reunite them. Even though the result had been a miracle, the time it took to steal that away had been so ridiculously short. Beto trembled at the barbarous cruelty that had brought about such an abrupt end. Besides, this was the true form of the act she herself had committed up until this point. So just as strongly as Beto hated the new witch, she also looked at her previous self with disgust. But now she had to escape. If she was targeted next, she would probably lose her life. To think that chess player had descended, just thinking they were like a god, only to be attacked by the pieces.
ジョージが来てないわよ。いつ降りたのよ。
いつって、あれは何時くらいだったっけ？
確か4時か5時くらいだったかな。最低でも1時間以上前だよ。
俺たち眠くなってその後は多分居眠りしてたし。でも多分ジェシカの言う通りだと思うぜ。1時間か2時間くらい前だった。
私もそのくらいの頃だと記憶しています。コーヒーのおかわりはいるかと聞かれましたからな。
Something hard to believe had happened. Apparently when Aunt Ava left for a second to wash her hands, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsu had disappeared. There was no way they went hiding somewhere. Of course, the doors and windows had all been rigorously checked and were all locked from the inside. Not one of them was broken. And that wasn't true for the wasn't just true for the first floor. The second floor was also the same. Again, all doors and windows had locks built in a way that made them impossible to lock them from the outside. In other words, there's no way that Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsu had gone outside. And yet, they couldn't be found. Furthermore, they weren't the only ones who had disappeared, so had George Aniki of all people. George Aniki had left saying that he was going to get more coffee. He had gone downstairs for more than an hour earlier. We assumed that he was having a conversation with Aunt Ava and the rest, but Aunt Ava, who had been in the lobby the whole time, said that no one had come down. Since all the doors and windows were locked from the inside, it was unthinkable that they had gone outside. However, 3 humans had evaporated from this barricaded guest house, which had become a perfect closed room. In a situation like this, we couldn't imagine that this was because they were playing hide-and-seek and trying to scare us with a prank. It was probably reasonable to assume that they had been caught up in this crime. When Aunt Ava learned that her only son was missing, she had gone half insane, running from room to room and yelling his name. And Jessica, who had suddenly lost both her parents, had chased after her. Cries of George, and Mom, Dad had continued to echo through the guest house for some time. I think George said something about wanting to see Shannon's dead face. It would be reasonable to assume that he snuck out of the guest house and went to the mansion. But I didn't have a clue about Uncle Cross and Aunt Nazi. Did they see him leave, and then go to the mansion and search for him? Without even telling Aunt Ava? At this rate, it was only a matter of time before we start planning to leave the guest house to go search for them. When that time comes, I'll agree. We thought staying holed up in the guest house would be safe, which is why our big happy group of 12 people locked themselves here in this morning. And yet, now there's only 4 of us left, and that means staying here is no guarantee of safety. However, there's one thing we can't afford to forget. All the doors and windows were locked from the inside. And this is a closed room. How did they manage to vanish from this place? We searched around thoroughly, but we couldn't find any traces of someone hiding. The 3 of them had almost certainly been taken outside the guest house.
どうやってでしょう。まさか隠し扉とかがあるとか。
隠し扉？
扉も窓も外から閉めることは構造上不可能です。釣り糸の類を使ってもこの構造では無理でしょうな。となれば扉や窓以外から出たと考えるのが妥当でしょう。
確かにそういう論法にもなるだろうよ。隠し扉が存在しないなんて断言は誰にもできない。しかしそういう発想に飛躍する前に俺はもっと
と申しますと
For some time, Balor had been opening windows, opening shutters, and checking outside, repeating this for each window.
この窓は静かだな。なるほど。この窓は他と違って建物の構造上風が吹き込まないわけか。
そのようですな。こんなにも外は風雨なのに雨も風も入ってこないとは不思議な気持ちです。
南條先生、今窓を開けた時音を感じたかい？
いえ、気にはなりませんでしたな。よく油が効いていると思います。
つまり誰も見ていない廊下の窓からひょろっと抜け出すことは可能なわけだ。しかもこの窓なら風も吹き込まないから風圧でカーテンや扉が音を立てることもない。静かなもんさ。
Balor leaned forward and looked at the ground below. He was searching for some sign that George had jumped down, but at a glance he didn't see any mark like that in the grass in the middle of the pouring rain.
こういう窓が1階にもあるのかもしれない。誰にも気づかれずに表へ出ることは可能だぜ。
しかし扉はおろか窓は全て施錠されて鎧戸まで閉まっていましたぞ。出ることは可能でも閉めることは不可能だ。
閉められるぜ。こうやってカチャンとな。
Balor closed the window and locked it, as though it was perfectly obvious.
まさかバトラさんは。
最後に中の人間が鍵を閉めればこんな密室は朝飯前だ。
しかしそれでは
Nandro turned pale and shook his head several times, because the thing the Balor had just said forced him to face the fact that was frightening even to imagine.
俺の想像したトリックならな。しかしこんなトリックを使えば怪しまれる人物は極めて限定される。
He didn't want to say it in front of Nanjo, but after eliminating Jessica, who had just been with him the whole time, only Nanjo and Ava could have done it.
私はそんなことをしませんぞ。叱ってもいい。
となるとエヴァおばさんと南條先生のアリバイ合戦ってことになる。俺たちは2人とも怪しんでそれぞれを別々に監禁すればいいだけの話。逆に言えばこのトリックはもっと生存者が多ければ有効かもしれないが、これだけ人数が減った状況下では大して有効ではないんだ。
No, on the contrary, there'd be a chance of having your own neck strangled by using it. It would have been more advantageous to make it look like the culprit was outside, to intentionally leave a door unlocked or break a window.
もしこの失踪劇が今日の昼にでも起これば 俺は自信満々にこの説を発表しただろうよ。だが、この段階に至っては、全然自信が持てないぜ。何なんだこいつは。一体何を意味してやがるんだ。この密室はよ。
やはりその。
なんだい、南條先生。思いつきでもいいから言ってくれよ。
Nanjo looked like he was trying to swallow his words, even though he had thought of something, so I urged him on. After Dr. Nanjo refused several times, saying it was just a foolish idea, he finally said it out loud.
イエスの。やはりこれは本当に魔女の仕業ではないのかと。
バカバカしい。魔女なんているわけがねえぜ。
魔女は私たちに訴えたいのです。人間にはできないことをやってのけるからこそ、自分を魔女だと認めさせたいに違いないのです。私はこのゲストハウス全体の密室からの失踪は、そういう魔女からのメッセージだと感じています。考えてはならないのです。意味なんてきっとないのです。私は恐ろしい。
As Dr. Nanjo shook with fear, it looked like he was trying to erase the fearsome thoughts that he kept imagining one after the other. When we went downstairs, Aunt Ava and Jessica were enraged. They were both persistent in their desire to leave the place and search for their respective families. It was a desire that was naturally hits those that can no longer see their family. Aunt Ava told Dr. Nanjo and me to stay here, but I shook my head and started walking.
もう引きこもりはたくさんだぜ。俺も外の空気を吸いたくなってきた。
ああ、行くならさっさと行こうぜ。もうこんなところに閉じこもってるのは真っ平さ。早く父さんや母さんやジョージ兄さんを探しに行こう。
Blood had all risen to Jessica's head. I hope it doesn't set off her asthma.
残りたい人は勝手に残ってればいいわ。とにかく私たちは表を探してくるわ。
南條先生はどうする？一人で留守番してるかい？
いえ、私もご一緒させてください。
Rather than holding up alone in the guest house whose security was by no means guaranteed, it would be better to enter a danger zone as a group of 4 people. Aunt Ava had a gun. Moving separately from her was almost like asking to be made the next victim. In this way, the 4 of us decided to leave the guest house. Even though it should have been safe to barricade ourselves here, we lost 8 people after doing so. It was almost as though this was a holding cell from which the sacrifices could be killed one after another. We removed the chain, unlocked the front door, and opened it. It was already pitch black. While there were some lights outside that dimly lit pathway, they didn't have enough power to pierce the darkness that some suspicious person might be hiding in.
行くわよ。遅れても知らないんだからね。
Still holding her gun, Aunt Ava dashed out without an umbrella. Jessica followed after her. After glancing at each other, Dr. Nanjo and I chased after them. What in the world was happening in this mansion on this island? I've just been shut up in this guest house with the rest of the cousins since yesterday, so I don't know anything about what's going on outside. There's what's happening that I don't know about. Outside this room, in the mansion, on this island. Everything is happening, everything is proceeding, and everything is ending without my knowing it. Somewhere in my heart, I've already started giving up. Most likely, not one of us will see tomorrow morning. When the seagulls cry, nobody will be left alive.